What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video we have to talk about some interesting stuff going on with Fortnite, such as Fortnite OG potentially getting a 1-week delay, and even some new stuff going on with storm circles. Now, for people who don't know what I mean by storm circles, if you guys have been keeping up with the current season, or maybe the end of the last season, you may or may not have noticed, but Epic Games has been experimenting with new circles. Instead of just having a normal circle, you could have stuff like a snowman, a crown. The crown one's been one I've been seeing a lot, and even some weird shapes, like, one that looks like the side of a kidney or whatever, right? They've had a lot of different shapes that they've been able to do, and it's been something that they've been trying to interact with, trying to innovate a little bit here and there with, in order to make the systems a little bit more dynamic in Battle Royale. So we have a few updates on that as well, but let's start off by firstly seeing, okay, we just got a normal storm circle, that's kind of lame for this one, but let's go ahead and firstly talk about Fortnite OG. Fortnite OG was originally set to go to their next season in 22 days on around like June 17th to June 18th, depending on what time zone you are in or whatever, but it appears like that has actually been delayed. Epic Games has been pushing back a few event flags, such as when the actual quest end dates go and, expire from being June 18th all the way over to June 25th, which is a very interesting change to see them doing, because typically whenever we see quests that are related to a specific game season being delayed, it means Epic Games is planning to announce a delay to the actual season itself. Now, where this gets a little bit more complicated is the fact that we have the update schedule for Battle Royale all the way through to December of 2026, and in that update schedule, the 24th, 25th area where this update would have actually been delayed to, there isn't an update planned. Could they do like a 0.41.11 update? Yes. However, I don't think a 01 update or a 0.11 update or whatever else would really classify as something that would be small enough to just throw a new battle pass in the game. Maybe they could do that, maybe they've kind of changed the versioning number internally in order to make it so that they're able to do something like that, and at the end of the day, it is Epic Games, so they can decide just to randomly choose an update number if they wanted to. We could get like a 0.37 update if Epic Games really wanted to, right? But it's definitely something where I think that they might end up announcing a new delay soon. They might end up actually telling us, hey, we're going ahead and adding, this update to the update schedule, or pushing back the June 18th update or whatever to June 25th, something like that, in order to get all of it kind of settled in a neat and nice way where people are able to understand it and they're still able to enjoy the season, grind out whatever battle pass rewards they have left or quests before Fortnite OG moves into the next season. But it's definitely something that I think is interesting, and I hope you guys are able to discuss it down in the comments below, what you think about the whole entire situation. We've been noticing a lot more delays recently. It's just kind of been back to back, right? It's something where it's like, in some cases, the delays are understandable, but it feels like every single season for the past, season or two has been delayed to end a little bit later than normal. I think the current season we're in right now has not actually received a delay. The only thing that's been, modified is maybe the quest end date to be, a day ahead or something. I could be wrong on that, but it does appear like we've been seeing a lot more delays and a lot more of lack of fluidity with the actual update schedule from Epic Games as of late. So it's going to be interesting to see if this continues into future seasons as well, or if this is the last we'll be seeing of it for a while. Who really knows? On top of that, though, I did want to talk about the storm circle, so let's go ahead and tell you what you need to know about that by mentioning a new survey that was added to the in-game files. Now, whenever you actually end a match, right, whenever a match is over, sometimes you go back to the lobby and you'll see an update or a pop-up or whatever that's like, what did you think about the last match you played? Did you like this mechanic? What do you think about insert game mode here? And in some cases, those game modes and some of those surveys are actually outdated, because most recently we've actually had a survey that's like, what do you think about this game mode in Fortnite? And Ballistic is still in there. And as you guys pretty sure you're aware of, Ballistic is not around anymore, so it's interesting to see it still being mentioned in the game code in some places. But this new survey states, please rate how much you like or dislike the following storm shape. And then they have a lot of storm shapes that I actually mentioned here, some of which I don't think are actually enabled right now, or maybe they were enabled around Winterfest time and they got disabled with the new season or whatever. I'm not really for sure, but I haven't seen some of these in a super long time. The ones they mention are Arrow, Christmas Tree, Circle, so Circle, would be the default one right here, Crown, the number 7, which, yeah, we haven't seen since Chapter 7 launched, Rectangle, Snowman, Triangle and Wall of Water. Now, I'm not for sure which one actually classifies as Wall of Water. Maybe that's the weird, like, kidney stone one I was talking about before. I'm not really entirely for sure there, but it is cool to see that they're trying to keep the storm shapes as like a permanent addition to the game, but also trying to get the community's feedback, even from those who might not be on social media, in order to make the best effects possible with this storm circle. Maybe it's something where they'll end up changing in the future, so the storm circle actually merges like halfway through your match, so while you're playing and everything else, you know, you might get a normal circle, and then the late game circles actually merge into one of these unique ones, like a snowman or something. That could be a cool little aspect they do, and maybe that already happens, but I don't feel like it does, you know, but it definitely is a good idea Epic Games could do. You know, maybe they could do that with the survey results or whatever, but at least as of right now, they're trying to figure out what crown, or I guess, you know, what designs work the best in the actual gameplay, which ones people like the most, and which ones people don't like. For example, rectangle is one of the ones I hear most people don't end up liking because it's the one where it's like the full map as a rectangle, and then the sides close, and then the top and bottom slowly close down. You know, it's a little bit of like a janky one that feels a little odd in the gameplay. It definitely ships up how like fast a match is actually played, so that's one of the weirder ones I've seen people comment on, but it's definitely one of the things where we could get more crazy wacky ones in the future. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if we ended up getting like a wacky one later down the line that was like a storm circle that splits up into like 3 storm circles early game that merges into one in the late game, because that was something they actually used to test a long time ago in like chapter 2, maybe chapter 3 of Fortnite, that they never ended up actually releasing to the full game. So it would be one of those cool ones to actually see them do, because it kind of makes zones, right? You know, there will be the best player of each zone towards the end of the game all merged together to fight one another. So I definitely think that could be a cool aspect for them to do. But overall, you know, it's pretty cool to see some updates going on here and there regarding Fortnite and regarding storm circles and everything else. I'm just curious when they're going to actually announce the delay to the OG pass, if they're going through with one. Because at first, you know, I deleted a tweet about it because sometimes Epic Games likes to like comment on tweets being like, hey, actually, here's a correction, even if you were the one in the right anyways. So I was like, you know, maybe it's not an actual delay or something, so I'm just going to delete the tweet so I don't have to deal with any of that. But it definitely appears like it's going to be something where they'll end up announcing it soon, because of the fact that first they delayed some quests until the 25th that were related to Fortnite OG, and then today they delayed more quests to the 25th that were related to Fortnite OG. So it definitely seems like something that's like an intimate thing that will get announced very soon. Until next time, however, I'll be Champs and Champions. Enjoy today's YouTube video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, and for a bonus comment question of the day, let me know what games are you playing right now. There's definitely a lot of games coming out recently, like that Lego Batman game and stuff, so if you're not someone who's really into Fortnite right now but you keep up with the news, definitely let other people know what games there are worth checking out right now, even if they're like some older ones like Squadron or something. Until next time, however, I'll catch you champs and champettes a little bit later with another upload. Peace out.